Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nightly Relay. I'm Neutrino Jones, and this is March 20th, 2017. Lots of things in the news today, lots going on. Donald Trump, James Comey, Neil Gorsuch, the Congress, the Senate, the Russians. And we're going to go over the day's events for you. You may have been too busy to follow that. So you get to sit back and relax while I read the news. Gallup poll came out today, March 20th. Gallup poll shows President Donald Trump's approval rating is 37%. That's 37%. The lowest since he took office 2 months ago. The Gallup Daily poll, based on a 3-day rolling average released Saturday, shows 37% of Americans approve of the job Trump is doing as president, while 58% disapprove. 2 months in. It just keeps dropping. On January 22nd, 3 days after Trump was sworn into office, Trump's approval and disapproval rating was split 45% to 45%, respectively. And on February 21st, about halfway through his first 2 months in office, 42% of Americans approved of Trump, while 52% disapproved. The Gallup polls show. Though Trump's approval rating reached a new low on Monday, on March 10th, Trump's approval was at 45%, 1 point shy of his 46% high. Immediately after his inauguration, he was only 4 points under 50%. But that number has since plummeted amid the fallout and subsequent investigation of comments he made accusing former President Barack Obama of tapping Trump's phones at Trump Tower. And that is a smokescreen. Just trying to divert attention. The House Intelligence Committee had James Comey in front of them today. And from UPI, FBI Director James Comey confirmed Monday that his agency is investigating whether Donald Trump's campaign colluded with Russia to influence the 2016 election. Comey also testified to the House Intelligence Committee that he had not been given information to support Trump's assertion he was under surveillance before he became president. So A, he said, yes, we are investigating the Trump campaign and the Russians. And B, no, there is no information to confirm Trump's lie, which everybody just fell over themselves covering for the last 2 weeks. Of course the Russians tried to influence our campaign. They got exactly what they wanted. Rex Tillerson. There's no need to investigate that. It's amazing how gullible the American public can be. They've got the networks force-feeding you this round-the-clock spy novel. And that is to divert attention away from the real stuff that's going to affect Americans' lives. That real stuff that's going on that nobody's paying attention to. I watched CNN and MSNBC cover this House Intelligence Committee hearing with James Comey, who's just part of it. He's in on it. This is a guy that came out who had this information about the Russians in July. But back in July, he was telling everybody how awful Hillary Clinton was. And then 3 months later in October, came out and said, wait a second, breaking news. I've got more dirt on Hillary, this time with Anthony Weiner, the sex offender. And he dropped that bomb, you know. He had no problem saying that. But now he's got a problem confirming things and, you know, all day long. All he said, I can't say, I can't confirm. I can tell you that, yeah, we are investigating. And I can tell you there's no truth in the whole idea that Barack Obama wiretapped Donald Trump at Trump Tower. What a joke. This is a smokescreen. So I watched this all day long, and finally I went back and forth. I was flipping back and forth, oddly enough, between the House Intelligence Committee and the Neil Gorsuch hearings. The guy that's up to be the next Supreme Court Justice, the 9th Supreme Court Justice, who is far right, conservative, against women, against abortion. That one, the one that the networks would not cover. So I flipped back and forth between C-SPAN and the networks, and wouldn't you know, just as they finished with Neil Gorsuch, I flipped back over to CNN, and they're still talking to Comey. You know, they had him there all day long asking him questions that he wouldn't answer, except, yes, we do have an investigation, but no, I can't tell you anything about it. And no, that stuff about, you know, Barack Obama tapping Trump's phones through his microwave oven, none of that was true. So just as that finished, the Gorsuch thing finished, Nunes, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, he just wraps it up. But before he wraps it up, it was just perfectly timed. I couldn't believe how, you know, they wrapped up that all day long affair with Comey right after Gorsuch was done. Right after. Just a couple minutes. Just, all right, it's time to close. They got the word in the microphone that said, Gorsuch is done. He's leaving. It's all over. And they wrapped up the Comey thing. That smokescreen. And he called it a smokescreen. He said, well, I just want you to know that all this does is create a cloud of confusion. He called it what it is. He just confirmed that that's what this is. And Comey nodded his head and said, yep, that's what we're doing. Just keeping everybody in the dark. It's unbelievable. So here's a story that didn't get in the news. This was put up on NPR's website. And this has to do with Neil Gorsuch. A former law student of Judge Neil Gorsuch, President Trump's nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, alleges that in a course she took from Gorsuch at the University of Colorado Law School last year, the judge told his class that employers, specifically law firms, it's a club, folks. It's a club. The Men's Hair Club for men and law firms. That's what it is, you know. Specifically, law firms should ask women seeking jobs about their plans for having children, and implied that women manipulate companies. They manipulate men. That's what he meant to say. Women manipulate, because who runs the companies and the law firms? imply that women manipulate companies starting in the interview stage to extract maternity benefits. This is a guy who's going to be the 9th Supreme Court justice and lock that down for 20 or 30 years. That's what they don't want you to follow. That's why that did not make CNN or MSNBC or Fox today. All day long they covered Comey saying nothing. What are you investigating? Yeah, the Russians got what they wanted. They got Flynn, their man Flynn, in, and they got Tillerson. That's exactly what they wanted. They got what they wanted. All right, that's about it. I don't know if you followed any of that interesting information that came out today, but it's all a smokescreen, folks. And yes, the Russians did influence our campaign, along with Exxon-Mobil and Rex Tillerson and the Republicans. And by the way, the Democrats, they don't want you to know what's going on either. They were ready to vote for this guy Gorsuch until everybody got out of their chairs and into the streets and showed up at these town halls. The Democrats were going to vote. They voted for Mattis. They were going to vote for Tillerson, Gorsuch. They're company people too. It's a smokescreen. Don't believe it. I'm Neutrino Jones, and this is the Nightly Relay.